Hey everybody, what is going on? I am Maximus Rex and this is Big Baby Reviews. Check out my comics, Big Baby and Star Crasher on KingComics.CA. Check out my videos, my YouTube videos on King Comics 2021. That's the channel. Instagram is Maximus Rex 13 and Facebook is Max Rex and or Big Baby. So guys, today I'm correcting a mistake. So through the editing process, for one reason or another, I don't know, I cocked up somewhere. So instead of a review for PITT number 6, last week you got a review of PITT number 7. And then this week, for some reason, I mistakenly thought that the next video was the next, issue of PITT, but it was actually issue number 7 again. So, my internet buddy, my YouTube buddy, Robert Norton, who also does comic book reviews. Check him out on YouTube at Rob Norton or something like that, right? Robert Norton, one or the other. Check him out. That's the name of his channel. Contacted me to let me know that there was a problem and that I had like double booked and put basically the same issue out twice, last week and this week. That's what happened, issue 7. So thought I fixed it, looked into my videos, blah, 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 did some editing. I thought I had found video for number 6 and then ended up reposting, and Robert had to once again contact me and tell me that that was actually episode 5, which had aired a couple of weeks ago and that there were no problems with. So looking through all my stuff, my raw videos, I don't know what happened. I messed up maybe in the saving part or whatever, but the review for number 6 has basically disappeared. So here I am today to correct the mistake. I apologize to everybody, and I'll be posting this video as soon as it's done, editing it real quick and throwing it up to correct the mistake. Issue 7 is already reviewed, so I'm going back to issue 6, and then next week we'll be back on track with issue 8. That video is already shot, and we'll be going in chronological order from that point on. Gotta say, out of all the videos I put out, I'm close to 300 now. This is the first mess up that I do, so I do apologize. But I think that's a pretty good track record. I explained to Robert as well that I'm in the process of buying a home right now for the first time and moving and all that. So that's definitely taken away some of my attention of my other projects that I work on, artistic stuff, my YouTube videos, all that. Yeah, that's life and it happens. So I guess I wasn't on the ball for this one, but I'll make sure as much as possible that does not happen again in the future. And so let's move on with the review. Let's do it. So redoing this one, take 2 for review of PITT number 6, September 1994, 95, 94. Yeah, okay. I feel like I should be paying more attention to actually like with the next PITT issues as to when they're actually released and the month and the year and stuff, just to see how well the deadline is holding up with Dale Keown. That was one of the issues early on. I don't know if later on that got better or if he just kind of said, listen guys, expect 2 or 3 issues a year and that's about it. I have no idea. So to situate myself here, if I remember correctly, we'll do credits because I haven't been doing credits in a while and maybe it's just a good idea to start doing that again. So pencil, ink story, Dale Keown, full Keown art, story script, Brian Houghton, of course, colors, Joe Scioto, who's toned it down with the blue and the orange, and lettering is Chris Eliopoulos. Color separations, all the optics, and that's about all I'm going to get into. So yeah, so this is, I remember the end of issue 5 is PITT versus the werewolf, and werewolf reverts back to innocent looking girl. So these guys, of course, conveniently show up right where PITT has just, all of her blood all over him, and clearly he's like killed her or something, or at least they assume he has. Whether or not she's dead, we'll find out later, I guess. Great kind of establishing shot here. The down shot, I've always said, is one of the harder shots to do. I've done it in my stuff, and it's the ones I kind of struggle with the most, I would say. So Dale Keown, great artist, doing a great job here. And yeah, so these guys are from, I forget their name again, this team, but I've mentioned before maybe. I feel like they're kind of like Pantheon a little bit. They are there to move the plot along, obviously, as you'll see in issues 7 and 8 as we move on. They're mysterious leader who kind of resembles Professor Xavier is driving a big point of the plot line. Anyways, I'll leave it at that. And so, of course, superhero misunderstanding. These guys are asking him to stick around, and of course, PITT just kind of swats them off. But then PITT's gonna have, I've mentioned before, PITT usually has one kind of monster fight every issue. So in this one, it's going to be against this Abomination kind of guy. I say Abomination kind of guy. He's pretty much the Abomination, wouldn't you say? Like the design is not that far off. I guess he's supposed to be like a dinosaur kind of guy. But yeah, more of the same. Great art, but big muscular guys punching each other. Done well though, with great anatomy and great hatching that Stephen and double lighting that Stephen Platt's gonna rip off. Right. This I will repeat this almost every issue, but Dale Keown does really well as a master of it. Stephen Platt kind of extremed it and pushed it, to an insane level. But I still think Dale Keown does it with, I would say, better technique and taste. Sometimes, though, some of these double page splashes I feel are kind of unnecessary. I don't know if, he's still doing insert panels, but it's not much storytelling. It's just Pitt getting punched a bunch of times. And, 2 pages to basically Pitt being punched 3 times is a little bit much, I would say. Not that it's badly drawn or anything, but yeah, this I'm getting such a Stephen Platt vibe from all this hatching here. Yeah, not one of my favorite double page splashes in Pitt. It's a little kind of self-serving and deadline-y. I'll use that as an adjective. Of course, by the time they get to the heap where they've, thrown Pitt into, he's gone. And he's basically dug a hole into the ground. Very Hulk-like. Again, another down shot here, like just to get all these, the arms and the angle of it, and the one leg here and the very small leg there. It's getting this right is just something that's difficult for me. So when I see someone like Dale Keown doing such a great job at it, I get jealous. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, I'm going back in time. So Timmy is still in a coma here, and he's still got the alien child mind inside his mind, right? And that's who is talking here. Jereb or something. I sense danger. Of course you do. So we got some sort of Black Ops dude breaking in here. It's almost turning into like a Jim Lee Wildstorm comic all of a sudden. So I take back what I said about Joe Chiodo. I mean, he's toned it down on the blues, but definitely not toned it down on the oranges. Not that the coloring bothers me necessarily. I mean, it gets a little tedious to always see kind of the same 2 colors. So the fact that the blue's kind of been taken out in this issue, at least somewhat, is helping. But there's really a crap load of orange. It's a minor peeve. I think the coloring still works pretty well overall. Man, look at these, like a lot of double page spreads. I will say, I do feel like maybe this one's a little best served more than the other one as far as storytelling goes. So there is a bit of sequential stuff going on. So, breaking out from underground here, climbing the building, right? That's an interesting kind of shot with the eyes. I don't know. Feels like Mike Mignola-ish with those 2 little circles. It's an odd choice, I think, for a Dale Keown aesthetic. Maybe just blacked out would have been best. Why the silhouettes though here? Is that a conscious thing? It's nighttime. The dramatic uplighting here is very well done though. That's something that I also find kind of hard, doing uplighting and downlighting. When I am called to do that in my comics or whatever, I will usually look up a reference picture just to be kind of, at least have a general idea of where the shadows fall. Sometimes you guess at, some stuff and you do it right, and then you guess at other stuff and it ends up looking a little wonky. Again, Dale Keown, though, is another level of artist. Even this, I gotta say, it's pretty well detailed. The foreground kind of roof details, the other apartment buildings, the one that's been destroyed here, pretty good. It's just these apartments are all empty or something. I think with all this noise and action, there'd be at least, a few people in the window. What's going on? So guess Pitt's pissed off here because they seem to be taking off with Timmy, right? The Black Ops guys. So Timmy, I can make this like South Park. It's not a South Park reference, but with hindsight, this panel becomes hilarious because of South Park and Timmy. Anyways, to me, I don't know if everyone sees that. All of a sudden, the teeth are getting smaller in Pitt's mouth. It's kind of an odd thing here. Also, I do want to mention, I don't know if it's, sometimes we tend to draw somewhat of ourselves in all of our characters, no matter what. Even if it's not quite noticeable right away, some detail from our face or something about our facial structure usually works its way into our characters no matter what, right? It's really hard to get away from that. So I feel like Dale Keown is drawing kind of his teeth, or he's looking at his teeth. And I've seen pictures of Dale Keown when he smiles. You know, you can, some people when they smile, you just see their bottom teeth. Some people you see both sets, top, bottom. Some people you just see the top, and some people you see a lot of gum, right? Everyone's different. PITT definitely shows off a lot of gum, which I think is coming from Dale Keown looking at himself in the mirror. But then I just want to go back to the cover because I didn't mention, but like this character too here on the cover, like a lot of his characters are just starting to show a lot of gum. It's kind of odd, but I think it comes from the fact that, you know, that's kind of how, you know, Dale Keown's own dental structure is. I know I'm going to weird details there, but, you know, I do feel like I've said before, he pays special attention to teeth. Dale Keown has great teeth, the best teeth in comics. So of course, yeah, PITT looking for the boy. This dinosaur guy, that's a great shot there. I think here's a page where Joe Scioto's going a little more subtle, and I think it works really well with kind of the warm colors, you know, blending into the cooler colors of the night up here. Kind of odd. Maybe I would have added some stars and stuff, but you know, that whole effect sometimes that, you know, when you're in the city, you don't see the stars because of the glare of the city that kind of shines up. I guess that's what they're going for here. And it kind of works because you will still see the moon, right? But you just won't see the stars. I'm in Montreal. We rarely see the stars, right? It's a pretty big city. Lots of lights. Kind of an uncharacteristic Dale Keown face here. Really exaggerated, but I like it. But again, I feel like for some reason all of a sudden he's started, you know, his monsters start having smaller teeth. Again, weird detail, but a lot of the action, a lot of left to right action here, which to me makes it a little confusing with these two panels here. Not that there's a tangent necessarily, but there's definitely a directional thing where you're like, oh, is that, you know, supposed to go that way? Where I do feel you're supposed to go like this, right? One page and then one page. So a little bit of confusion in the reading direction. Still some great artwork though, all the way throughout. I feel like he's doing pretty well on this issue in backgrounds as well, right? You've often got the cityscape. Here they're inside some mall or subway area or something. You do kind of get a sense of that here. The doors, the walls, all that. And so, of course, they're fighting, but they're going to join forces to obviously go save Timmy. And from what I know in the next issue, they're hopping a flight up to the Arctic up north, the greatest of white norths. Kind of a weird thing here. Great shot of PITT, right? Great way of showing how big he is in the cockpit of the ship, right? Compared to the pilots. I always thought there's a weird kind of McFarlane-y vibe to these two faces. I don't know what it is, but yeah, there's just... is it just me? That's like all of a sudden two very kind of slightly cartoony McFarlane faces. Even sometimes when he'll do just a simple shot like this, establishing shot here where it looks like that looks like New York, right? The Twin Towers, back then, they were still up. You know, guess this is, what is it on the other side? Long Island, possibly? Help me out with the geography. I'm not 100% sure. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, just a simple, clever panel that, you know, tells the story, them flying off. And the story ends with, you know, kind of mysterious guy looking at the screens trope, looking at Timmy. And it's the gentleman from this team, right, of superheroes is their leader. And we're going to find out more about his motivations in the next issue, 7, which I've already reviewed, and in issue 8, which is coming up next week. So yeah, the idea, guys, is I'm shooting this one, and I'm just throwing it out there right there today as quickly as I can to compensate for yesterday's fuck-up, and then we're back on track. We still have a video coming out today, the regularly scheduled. Today would be Thursday, so we've got a Rob Liefeld video. So hopefully there will be no issues with any of the other videos. And like I said, next week we're back on track with our review of PITT number 8, and back sequentially the week after that, PITT number 9, etc., etc. I'm just going to talk about maybe this ad here, Spawn number 24, one of the last, I think the last issue that McFarlane actually draws. Kids and Crack, Spawn, and Sam and Twitch, which one of these don't belong together? Well, Answer, fight out in Spawn 24. Spawn goes saving some of the local school kids with the help of his new ally Simon Twitch. The knowledge of Spawn's existence has positive and negative ramifications to those that live around him. Find out in this emotional story of Spawn trying to justify his existence to the local folks while at the same time battling the crack dealers. Also, lead to the Angela miniseries by Neil Gaiman and Greg Capullo coming later in the year. Almost monthly from Image. And I read this. I will be reviewing Spawn 24 at some point in a few months. I'm not quite sure that's what happened in that story. It's a weird advertisement because I don't remember that. And I feel like Spawn 24 is about something completely different. And again, I do think Spawn 24 is McFarlane's last Spawn issue that he draws and inks. 25 is the Mark Silvestri issue when they all Image X Month, when they switched over, right, titles. And then pretty sure from 26 on, we get Greg Capullo. So I guess we'll be finding out soon when as I move through my Image reviews. Image. Oh, this is interesting. Let me read this. Come on, admit it. You thought we'd be gone by now. I guess a lot of people did back then. They're still around today, so good on them. I'll read it. When we originally announced our plans to form an alliance dedicated to economic and creative freedom, the industry experts and pundits had a field day. They predicted we couldn't possibly last more than a year. Too young, too impulsive, too naive. They'll never find the self-discipline necessary to make sound business decisions. And with 2020 hindsight, we'll be the first to admit a few of those predictions came true. We did make some boneheaded decisions. Nice of them to admit it because it's true, but any new company is going to do that. And you've got growing pains and you make mistakes and you learn from them, right? But despite all the pratfalls, Image Comics survived. We just entered the third year of our revolutionary alliance. We're not so impulsive and naive anymore. In fact, we're stronger than ever, revitalized, refreshed, and rededicated to making the best comics on Earth. We've never lost sight of the reason why we banded together, to refuse to follow in the footsteps of all the legendary creators who had their characters taken from them. Touché. We're free to pursue our own visions and dreams. We've demonstrated to every young superhero cartoonist that you don't have to sell yourself short. We've changed the nature of work for hire comics by nurturing our own young talent and rewarding them extremely well for their labor on our creations. We encourage them to work towards the day they create their own worthy characters, leave our nest, and form their own versions of Image Comics. In 1992, we set out to institute permanent changes in the comics industry. The young creators of tomorrow will benefit from the battles we waged against the large publicly held corporations, and we couldn't be prouder of that. Image sets the trends and the rest of the industry follows. That's why we're still here and will continue to be for a long, long time. That's a pretty interesting ad considering, 30 years later at this point is where we are. And Image is still around, still kind of one of the publishers is kind of championing creator rights. And I mentioned this in one of my past videos that may be coming out later, so I'll say it again. For a guy like me who was drawn back in the day and, getting into comic books, Image Comics was kind of creator-wise a revolution in that they really opened everyone's eyes. Whatever you think of their product, they opened everyone's eyes and creators' eyes to the fact that you could hang on to, the trademarks, the copyrights, the ownership of your creations and guide your creations and not have to, give up those things to a larger corporation who's going to make or who could possibly make lots of money on your creation that you would not be making. So yeah, they're definitely inspiring for that and are definitely at the forefront of having brought that idea popularity amongst creators in the early 90s and past that, right? So yeah, kudos to Image for that, for sure. They will always, I think, be remembered for that positive step forward for creators in comic books and maybe in other media as well, So there you go, guys. We finally got it down. I hope if I edit this properly, you will have watch the review of PITT number 6. If you are subscribed and you're still watching the videos, thank you so much. I really appreciate you sticking in there with me. If you're watching videos but you're not subscribed, please do so below. It only takes a quick second. It really helps out the channel, helps us grow, and helps get us out there to other people who are into comic books just like we are. So everyone out there, from the bottom of my heart, sorry for the mistake. We'll try to make it not happen again. Thank you so much for watching and have an awesome day.
Like, subscribe. Like, subscribe!
King Comics presents Big Baby, Volume 1, Issues 1 to 13, 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents Star Crasher one-shot, 32 pages, cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at KINGCOMICS.CA, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby.